But taxpayers are only expected to foot about 1/3 of the estimated $90 million price tag. That means the nonprofit Atlanta Police.
$90 million for Cop City training facility. And they've already shot and killed somebody. Ain't even started construction on it yet, it seems. Now we're going to go to Atlanta, where I do believe we're going to need a content warning again. This is one of those that may pop off. Fox News was talking about it this morning. So they're saying Anarchy is coming to Atlanta. We're going to talk about a cop shooting near what is called Cop City. You may ask yourself, Cop City, that sounds horrible. Yeah, it does sound horrible. And we're gonna talk about this here in a little bit.
The GBI has just identified the suspect who allegedly shot a state trooper. 26-year-old Manuel Tehran was killed yesterday during an incident near the future site of an Atlanta police training center. This picture was provided by a group of the protesters. Meanwhile, that trooper is still in the hospital tonight.
And the GBI has now confirmed there are 7 people facing domestic terrorism charges connected to that law enforcement operation to clear out a protest encampment. 11 Alive's Tracy Amick-Peer picks up our continued coverage from Grady Hospital. So Tracy, what's the latest on the trooper's condition?
Well, tonight, the state trooper who was shot in the abdomen is still here at Grady in the ICU after a second surgery this afternoon. Meanwhile, law enforcement metro-wide is on high alert after threats made on social media of retaliation.
In lieu of recent events, there have been threats against officer safety in the metro Atlanta area.
This is the message repeated on the City of Atlanta police.
I ain't sad about it, sorry.
One day after a state trooper was shot while on a clearing operation at the future site of the Atlanta Police Training Facility.
Please be alert and aware of your surroundings.
Putting law enforcement on high alert. Officers Wednesday were attempting to remove individuals that have been camped out on the property for months. GBI Director Mike Register says the property is hundreds of acres, and securing the land while facing resistance is complicated.
And we're working with our local partners, partners and other state partners to fully investigate the activities in the area there.
7 people were arrested on the premises since yesterday. Another 7 were arrested last.
I'm sad I didn't know about this beforehand. So they are trying to construct a Cop City training facility, and people are camped out all over the grounds as a form of protest.
Last month, the so-called protesters, residents of 8 different states, from California to New York, and 4 from Georgia, all charged with domestic terrorism. Most arrested yesterday, also charged with aggravated assault against officers. Register says right now there could still be trespassers inside the property, and there is definitely law enforcement on site.
The hope is that they cleared out yesterday, but
I don't like this dude.
I don't know if they still have activity out there, because there is a law enforcement presence still there.
And when it comes to a plan for clearing out those trespassers and securing that site, Register says they are meeting on that to make a plan next week, and we should get that plan soon after.
All right, thanks a lot, Tracy, for the update. And folks, you've heard a lot about who wants to stop the plan to build this massive training facility, but who supports it and who's going to pick up the tab?
Our investigative team is following the money tonight to get you answers. Faith, Jesse,
Yes.
now. Faith, what did you find out here?
Well, guys, according to property records, the city of Atlanta now owns the sprawling DeKalb County location, but taxpayers are only expected to foot about 1/3 of the estimated $90 million price tag. That means the nonprofit Atlanta Police.
$90 million for Cop City training facility, and they've already shot and killed somebody. Ain't even started construction on it yet, it seems. Off to a good start.
Police Foundation is working to raise millions for construction. So here's the question: where do they get the funding? The organization says private sector companies fund its projects. And we looked at the tax filings, which show 80% of the money comes from private donations. Its board filled with executives from nearly all of Atlanta's big name companies. Let's take a look at some of them. Waffle House, you see Equifax, Wells Fargo, the Home Depot, Delta, just to name.
That's who is funding fascist USA over here. It sounds about right. Wells Fargo, Equifax, Waffle House? Waffle House is like headquartered in Georgia, I do believe. UPS is headquartered in Kentucky, I thought. I may be wrong about that. Coca-Cola is definitely headquartered in Atlanta. I thought UPS was Kentucky. They must have a hub, and Atlanta is the busiest airport in the South.
A few. It reads like a who's who of corporate Atlanta, right? Public tax records do lag behind, so it's not yet clear exactly how much money is coming into the foundation from these companies for this project. But here's what we can tell you. We can tell you that in 2020, the organization had more than $24 million in assets and liabilities. So this is what we do know right now. We're continuing to follow the money for you, digging through the documents to find out just how much these major companies are contributing to this project.
All right, Faith, thank you so much. And you can read much more about the arrests in this case, the future of the protest encampment at the site, and the shooting investigation. Just look for this story on 11alive.com.
11alive.com. I'll give them the plug. I wasn't trying to shut them off. Yeah, Dustin, be mad. Quit wasting your investor money. I have pissed on a Wells Fargo before. It was a date I went on with a girl one time. We pissed on Wells Fargo. So Fox was talking about this story. So you know it's going to be fun. Do I have to give you a content warning because I'm playing the 5 2 nights in a row? I apologize for that. Get ready for Anarchy in Atlanta. It sounds like a blast to me.
Anarchy in Atlanta. Violent Antifa thugs are calling for a night of rage against law enforcement tomorrow.
Good.
Police shot and killed a man because he started shooting at a state trooper without warning. Police say it was in self-defense. Cops were raiding an autonomous zone that was set up to protest a proposed law enforcement training center. The sickening call for violence was posted on Twitter but taken down. It called for, quote, reciprocal violence to be done to the police and their allies. But Georgia cops aren't backing down to the threats.
Acts such as arson, physical attacks on members of our community, focused intimidation of citizens.
This is the same fuck we heard from earlier.
And setting booby traps that have the potential of causing great bodily harm.
Man, this sounds based.
Or could possibly maim are not acts of peaceful protest. They are criminal acts that destabilize communities and endanger citizens.
They are industrial sabotage.
Getting a lot of media coverage. Greg,
that's what it's a tactic.
You know, how all we hear about from the Democrats and the media is this.
Sounds like the plot of Home Alone, Lady B, but I guess it's pretty much the same thing.
Antifa is just out there doing whatever they want. And if you look at them, they're overwhelmingly white. They're misfits. They're miserable. And initially, the media had elevated them because they actually agreed with them because they were anti-fascist. Remember CNN? I wonder, if anybody else had been saying this, it would be viewed as hate speech. It'd be seen as a threat to democracy. But I think that the way the media still looks at this stuff, they've learned nothing from George Floyd. That this is not the voice of the oppressed. These are people who want to destroy society, right? So I think that, you would like to see this treated differently. The cops get more support, the media back off and say, you know what? Let's not bet on the wrong horse this time. That cost billions of dollars in damage, cost dozens of lives in the riots, and then thousands of lives with a crime epidemic. Maybe we should sit this one out and support the cops.
It's a pretty big statement to call for mass violence against
Jesse Waters too,
allies, which is pretty much everybody.
So anarchists have been camping out in this park in Atlanta for a long time.
This is the same panel we had yesterday, wasn't it? I thought this was rotating. I thought they had different people.
The building of a police training facility. Because training police is bad?
They want less training.
No. We've got a different
The
liberal.
arrested Antifa terrorist, 22 years old, son of a millionaire.
We had Harold
Maine,
Ford
lived in
yesterday.
a big house, sailed on the yacht, and now he gets to live in the woods.
I don't remember her
Look, they
name.
allow these nuts to live in the woods for way too long. And think about what is happening all across the country with homelessness problems. Let this be a warning. Don't allow these nuts to live out in the woods like this.
Wait, I don't think these people were homeless. I think they were.
Everywhere. These people are. This is a choice.
This is a form of protest.
Rich kid.
I
This is a
want them to
choice.
live in the woods, away from me.
Yeah, well, okay.
Well, they're
Let them
not
get eaten by bears.
They're not just living in the woods camping. They're building tree houses and throwing Molotov cocktails at people, Judge.
You know, I thought this was over after the summer of 2020, these CHAZ and these autonomous zones. And I kind of read this today and I said, oh my gosh, it's back. So now we've got people who really believe that a night of rage is appropriate, self-defense, reciprocal violence. You know, that's anarchy. That is total anarchy. We either believe in law and order or we don't. And by the way, don't you need a permit of some type, you know, to go into these places? If I want to camp out in the woods, or you have an RV, or you want to go camp out, you've got to have some kind of a some permit, okay? Or else it's trespass. Get them the hell out of there and let them know who's running the place.
Why hasn't Joe Biden condemned the treehouse Antifa?
That's an excellent question.
Joe Biden has a lot on his plate.
He just shot a law enforcement officer in the gut.
It's mostly gelatin.
Come on,
Unkind, and I don't think that much gelatin. Joe Biden has been very clear about violence. He's actually condemned Antifa, which is just like an unorganized mass of people who hate fascism and white supremacy.
Did you say it was an idea?
Well, no, I think that what he said, which was mirroring what Christopher Wray said, they had the FBI. That it
We're mocking some Fox News.
And people like to make
talking about how anarchy is coming.
It's not actually what it is. There are people in disparate.
Yeah, the Chiron says anarchy in Atlanta.
It's
very loose.
So it's like the Proud Boys.
What? No, the Proud Boys is quite organized.
Oh, there you go.
Isn't it?
A comment.
I don't know. I'm just asking you.
What?
You know
I don't even get how that's a trick that you made me stumble into. I think that's just true.
I don't know what just happened.
All violence is bad, and what stuck out to me about the story is obviously the horror of this police officer being shot, but the disconnect between what's going on the quote advocacy front and how people feel about it on the ground. The police are popular. They're especially popular in places with high minority populations that want there to be more cops.
And this is their supposed liberal.
And you are right. If you're trespassing, that should be the charge. I think it's in Louisville, right, where if someone has a tent out, they just arrest you and they just.
Ma'am, it is in Louisville where they have been raping the people they are arresting, where they have shot numerous innocent people, where they haven't been able to solve murders. They even had their own child rape scandal in the Louisville Police Department. It is one of the most rotten police departments, but I keep saying that. Every night we're like highlighting a new police department. I'm like, let me name all the things that this police department has done. It's one of the worst police departments in the U.S., but that's every police department. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that happens.
Take you in right away, and I think that they're going to have to start doing that in other places.
Right. Good. All right. Didn't Joe Biden bail out Antifa?
What?
In the summer of 2020?
No, Kamala did.
Kamala and Joe?
Kamala.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I
she
think
said
they
that you
did.
could donate.
Why
them out.
donate to the Minnesota Bail Fund? Who do you think they were going to protect?
It's not Antifa.
Why are you defending the Proud Boys?
Do not do that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click
like
to
I was
subscribe
not
to the Fox
expecting
News
Brian
YouTube.
Q. We're going to talk about the compound in Atlanta. It's being constructed, known as Cop City, where they tried to clear out some protesters. One of them was shot by police. Police said they shot at them. Protest has erupted.
Things, of course, thankfully have calmed down for us tonight, but you are standing right there in front of really the evidence of the crimes that happened earlier.
Yeah, Eric, what started as a demonstration against a proposed Atlanta police training center quickly turned into a violent protest when marchers took to the street. You'll take a look. This Truist Bank right here, the front window blown out by protesters throwing rocks and bricks at it. And across the street, the Wells Fargo right there also suffering damage when those protesters went after that building as well. They've already boarded it up. They also set a police cruiser on fire. Tensions boiled over tonight. Just a protester was killed in an exchange of gunfire with Georgia State troopers. With bricks and fire.
War Machine, they're building this sprawling training facility.
Atlanta Saturday night.
At that point, saw people smashing out taillights of cop cars and windows. And
David Abrahams watched as a firework was used to set an Atlanta police cruiser on fire.
What I saw wasn't peaceful. Yeah, no, I mean, blowing up cop cars and throwing fireworks at police officers is not peaceful.
Once the protest turned violent, police started swarming the area.
There was at least 15 cop cars at the intersection, and next thing I know, the protesters start taking off.
Before the violence, there was a peaceful demonstration Saturday at Underground Atlanta. The group was there to protest a proposed training center for Atlanta police and demand an independent investigation into the death of Manuel Thur. Thur was killed at Entrenchment Creek Park when law enforcement worked to clear the woods of activists Wednesday, camped out protesting the site they call Cop City. The GBI says Thur opened fire, injuring a state trooper, and that's when troopers shot back, killing Thur.
We can debate the circumstances of what happened Wednesday all day. I'd like to see an independent investigation of that.
What was supposed to be a peaceful demonstration to demand answers in Thur's death and put a stop to the proposed training center for Atlanta police took a turn. APD says the destruction was stopped quickly and
I don't believe the cops.
People were upset, and you could see it.
I want to see the footage of what happened. One of them had to be wearing a body camera.
What's going on? I didn't know if it was a parade or what. And then once I seen them start breaking cop car windows and the cop car caught on fire, I was like, yo, this is no joke.
That's what I call kicking authority in the balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls. Many of them have already left. They've reopened Peachtree Street here in downtown Atlanta. The police car that was towed away, but again, the evidence of what happened here still here tonight.
Agreed, Buddha
Bean. The street has already been boarded up. We're of course going to be learning more over the coming days and hours, but for now, live in downtown Atlanta tonight, Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, Tyler, good news here. No first responders were injured and no civilians were injured. Thanks so much.
See, then there's nothing about it, like, right? Just some property damage. Who gives a fuck? Ain't no thing. Let's go to the protesters' side. Let's go to Unicorn Riot and see what the protesters are saying, not just the local news hit.
If there's one thing that we want people to remember Thur for, it's that they were somebody who protected the people around them, who went through the training along with the rest of us to be able to provide medical resources to the people that were around them that may not have access to them. No matter what else the news says about Thur, they were a protector. Everything they did was out of love. Everything they did was out of hope for a better world.
They were a friend of mine. They were a friend of the community. Their death will not be in vain. Cop City! Fuck it all!
Fuck Cop City.
We all have to stand here and stay together and stay resilient to fight for what we believe in and never let Thur's memory go without honor.
Mayor Dickens, Ryan Millsap, you have blood on your hands. Fuck Cop City.
Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! No justice, no peace! No justice, murder! Cops hate murder! The cops took our friends from us! We want
Shit seems to be popping off again. is the headquarters of the Atlanta Police Foundation. I don't think they mentioned that in the local news hit, did they? They may have, and I wasn't paying attention. And fuck Wells Fargo too, just for the hell of it, because fuck Wells Fargo. I went on a date one time with a girl, and we pissed on a Wells Fargo.
Right here. Put him in fucking cuffs.
That looks like excessive force to me. Yanked her fucking arm out of socket, or their arm.
I can't breathe! I can't fucking breathe!
They were kneeling on her back. Fuck these pigs. The crowd dispersed after about an hour of the police treating them like that. The corn riot, as opposed to just getting the side from the local news.